Good evening, everybody. Wow, that's really loud. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the January 23rd meeting for the Glendale Elementary School District Governing Board. Please let the minutes show we have 3 out of 5 board members currently present. Hector is stuck in traffic, and Ms. Wilson is out sick today. So we do have a quorum to go and continue the meeting. So with that being said, are there any changes to the agenda this evening?
Good evening, President Martinez, members of the board. No, there are not.
All right. Ms. Bartels, is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
I would like to move that we adopt the agenda.
Second.
All right. Ms. Bartels, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Pimentel, how do you vote?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Thank you. Let's see. Please join me in a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. Mr. Goddard-Jones?
Yes, President Martinez, may I ask for a point of privilege?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Glendale Elementary Schools District se compromete a proporcionar un ambiente de aprendizaje acorde e inclusivo donde todos los estudiantes pueden prosperar no solo académicamente, sino también social y emocionalmente. Abracemos la diversidad de nuestra comunidad y nos sentimos honrados de que nuestras familias nos confíen el bienestar académico y social de sus hijos todos los días. Entendemos que las escuelas públicas se enfrentan a muchos retos más allá de nuestro control local, pero seguiremos firmes en nuestro compromiso de asegurar que cada estudiante se siente bienvenido y apoyado mientras está en la escuela. Continuaremos tomando decisiones que prioricen el mejor interés tanto de nuestros estudiantes como de la comunidad, asegurando que cada estudiante se siente valorado, respetado y empoderado para emprender, sin importar las presiones externas impuestas a la educación pública. En GSD estamos a todo por todos los niños todos los días. GSD is committed to providing a welcoming and inclusive learning environment where all students can thrive not only academically but also socially and emotionally. We embrace the diversity of our community and honored our families and trust us with their children's academic and social well-being every day. We understand public schools face many challenges beyond our local control, but will remain steadfast in our commitment to ensuring that every student feels welcome and supported while at school. We will continue to make decisions that prioritize the best interests of both our students and community, ensuring that every child feels valued, respected, and empowered to learn regardless of outside burdens placed on public education. At GSD, we are all in for all kids every day. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Goddard-Jones. Moving on in our agenda to our special recognition, Just Because Awards. Mr. Goddard-Jones?
Yes, Governing Board, if we can please step down, we will begin those recognitions. Good evening. For those of you that are joining us for the first time, we are going to begin our celebrations, the Just Because Awards. And this is on behalf of Goose Star Educational Foundation. So every month we randomly select a student and a staff member, and we just want to say thank you just because meaning that you are attending GSD as a student or you've chosen GSD to be an employee here, and we're proud that you entrust in us to be your employer, as well as that your children attend our schools every day. So it is a random selection. This is a unique one. So every student, every teacher or staff member, not just teachers, tonight it's a teacher, are placed into a data bank, and we randomly select one person across the district as an employee and then went as a student. So this time we have a teacher, and our teacher is from Burton. And Mariah, if you'll come forward, please. Miss Dejavin will come forward. You can bring your little one. Ezekiel, bring the baby. He can come. And we want to say thank you for choosing GSD. Gusto has awarded her with a $50 gift certificate already. We're also going to award her with some chocolates, a sign, and a plaque, some kindness crayons, some mosaic taffy. This is a yard sign, Mariah. And so I know you're exhausted with having an 18-month-old. So if you could run outside about 9 when I can get to your house, and both of you just stand there and I'll take a picture, we'll be good. You'll be on Instagram. You'll be famous. Okay? Make sure you're fully dressed, no chonies, and we'll be good. All right? But Mariah, thank you so much for choosing GSD. And if we could come in and take a picture, please, Adriana. And could the Burton family please come forward? Great, and you want to just get Mariah and the baby? You're welcome. I'm sure she's not going to give him the chocolate. We should have got puffs. Does he eat puffs? I need to get some puffs. All right. So as I said earlier, what was unique about this time, we did the random drawing, and it's never occurred before. The student was actually also from Burton. Her name is Olivia, but she's out ill today. Not only it was interesting that we, Adriana and I, we did the random. Our teacher came out, Mariah comes out. We do it again. We have a student. It's Burton. It's Olivia. And the thing about it was Olivia's first day of school that day. So I call Kate, Lazer's our principal, and I said, Kate, Olivia. She's like, Olivia, I can't, Cindy, I'm embarrassed. I don't know who this student is. And so she's worried about it. She talks to Brian. They're worried. They don't know who the student is. It's because they had just registered that morning. So, so we went and visited Olivia in the cafeteria. She was thrilled to death and very excited. And so, unfortunately, she couldn't be here, but Kate, if you'll make sure she gets everything. So, but again, that had never happened, so we were quite excited and surprised by that. Probably should have bought a lottery ticket. So, which I failed to do. Obviously, I'm still here. So we will go to the next award, and our next award, but I want to give this to Mariah. Did somebody give her chocolate? Because she said that her mom had been babysitting all day. So I'm thinking, Grandma, Nana needs some chocolate. I'm pretty sure Nana needs chocolate. There you go. You're welcome. Being a Nana, I understand that. Okay. So now we're going to go into our Just Because, or we did our Just Because. We're going to go into the Kiwanis Student of the Month. And we have with us our great Kiwanian, Patrick Kaiser. And Patrick, if you will please do that honor for us.
Thank you, and it's good to see you guys. I haven't seen you in a little while, so. Good evening, my name is Patrick Kaiser. I'm a member of the Kiwanis Club of Glendale. And tonight I am here to recognize the Kiwanis Club of Glendale Superintendent Student of the Month for the month of January 2025. The reason that this award is so special is that this student has been chosen by the superintendent for their hard work, passion for helping others, and helping to make our community a better place. This month's winner is Alyssa Marin.
Alyssa.
Congratulations. Now this is where we get to embarrass you a lot, so be prepared.
Alyssa, why don't you come up here so we can all look at you and stare at you while you're embarrassed. Then we'll give you chocolate.
Alyssa is a 4th grade student at Harold W. Smith Elementary School, where she has attended since 1st grade. Alyssa is dedicated to making the world a better place and is passionate about helping others. She volunteers at her church by making sure the church is clean and welcoming. Alyssa and her family also enjoy volunteering at Christmas time by passing out toys for those who need the extra support. Overall, Alyssa is a great example to other students. We asked her teachers to share a little more about Alyssa as part of the nomination process. Mrs. Mejia, Alyssa's first grade teacher, shared, "I remember Alyssa as being a student with such a kind and loving heart. Even now, she still comes up to me every day after school and gives me a goodbye hug. I also recall very clearly her outstanding school spirit. She never missed a chance to dress up for those school-wide spirit days. Congratulations, Alyssa. You certainly deserve this award." Alyssa's second grade teacher, Mrs. Carmichael, added, "Alyssa is such a hard worker and always on task and followed directions in class. The one memory I can think of is that every day at dismissal for the last couple of years," if I can flip the page, "she always comes up to her old teachers and gives them a hug, and that always meant so much to me." Mrs. Ingram, Alyssa's third grade teacher, admired Alyssa's helpfulness. She said, "While in class, Alyssa was always respectful, helpful, and responsible. She always went above and beyond helping other students with their homework or the day's lessons." This year, Alyssa continues to make an impression on the Smith campus. Her fourth grade teacher, Mrs. Sanders, states, "Alyssa is a leader in the classroom, always willing to help others. She helps our new students navigate the school and classrooms. She also helps her second language peers learn and grow. This is why she was asked to be one of our classroom ambassadors. Alyssa is a model of servant leadership at school, home, and in her community, which is why she is so deserving of the Kiwanis Student of the Month Award." Congratulations, Alyssa. We have a certificate to recognize your hard work and a $50 gift card to Walmart. The Kiwanis Club of Glendale encourages you to keep up the good work. For anyone who would like to learn more about the good work of the Kiwanis Club of Glendale, you can go to our website at kiwanisclubofglendale.com or follow us on Facebook. Or you can always join us for lunch every Wednesday at Manuel's at 55th Avenue in Peoria. Thank you.
Can we have Alyssa's whole clan? Come on up, everybody. Smith family, immediate family and friends, come on up. Everyone, come on up. There's a lot. Come on up. Yeah. Okay, so some chocolate for you, some chocolate for you, some chocolate for you. Can you just get the family? Okay. Adriana, can we just get the family? Okay. Family, Alyssa, and then Alyssa, there's one more thing you get to do also. Mr. Berrigan? Alyssa, also you get to choose something out of our treasure basket. Great.
Congratulations, Alyssa. In collaboration with the Glendale Elementary School District and the members of the Kiwanis Club of Glendale, last year we developed a new award that recognizes the school and the district that demonstrates unwavering dedication to servant leadership and provides significant service to the local, metro, regional, and global community. This award is called the Commitment to Servant Leadership Award, and each month, the school in the district will be named the Inspiring Change School of the Month. The January 2025 winner of this award is Bicentennial South. That is your award. With their robust focus on career and technical education, Bicentennial South has worked to create partnerships with many community organizations that provide outstanding presentations on the first Friday of every month and help with interesting field trips that are aligned with each grade level's CTE focus. Of particular note, with a focus on first responder training to medical sciences, to hospitality and culinary arts, Bicentennial South has worked to partner with industry leaders such as the Glendale Police and Fire Departments, Chase Building Team, EV innovators, and others to make sure all students have had diverse experiences and are ready to choose any path they desire during their high school years and beyond. Bicentennial South inspires change through these academic offerings. One example of a culmination of their hard work has been their electronic go-kart mosaic club, which built a go-kart, drove it in 2 parades, and have now worked to disassemble that cart for future clubs. These students, as innovators, show what purposeful dedication learning, new workforce skills, and showcasing the outcomes can do for not only student engagement, interest, and celebration, but overall community support. The trophy that you received is a traveling trophy that will be proudly displayed at the winning school for the month and will move to the winning school the following month. This will help build the solidarity of the GESD community and recognize the hard work of developing our future leaders. Congratulations.
Do you have any more South family, or is it just you? Just you. Great.
Okay, moving on in our agenda, are there any calls to the public this evening?
President Martinez, no, there are not.
Okay, next on the agenda is the consent agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Ms. Bartels, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Pimentel, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Jaramillo, how do you vote?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Thank you. Moving on to reports and information items, the really fun stuff, capital lawsuit update, now in its 30th year. Ms. Sagata-Jones.
Yes, at this time, I'll turn over to Mr. Bear again for formal introductions.
Mr. President, members of the board, Superintendent Sagata-Jones, you have Danny Edelman here with the Arizona Center for Law and the Public Interest. He took over as executive director, I believe it was in 2018, but he also served on the board for about 20 years prior to becoming the executive director. And you might remember that at the time, Tim Hogan was the attorney leading the capital lawsuit. Let me just, before Danny goes into his presentation, the superintendent and I think it was board member Martinez, President Martinez, also expressed, I believe it was in November, our appreciation to Mr. Edelman on his performance during the actual 60-day trial, or however long that was. They were well prepared. The entire team delivered. We were pleased with your performance, the preparation, and really your gentleness and grace with some of the witnesses and some of the individuals in that room. And I don't know that we could have asked for a better team to litigate that capital lawsuit. So with that, I will turn it over to Mr. Edelman.
Thanks anyway. Actually, I've been asked to explain what is the capital lawsuit. Although many of you already know about it, I'll give you a little background and just tell you what's going on like right at this minute. So the basic idea of the case is the state is not providing adequate funding to enable all of Arizona's school districts to meet their capital needs. And capital can be anything from the condition of your facilities, do your air conditioners work, is it watertight, do you have buses, all those things, plus curriculum and technology and equipment, everything that is capital, which is almost everything that isn't a teacher or a salary. So it's your stuff. And under the Arizona Constitution, our Supreme Court has held it is the state's obligation to adequately fund the capital needs of all public schools. And this case follows up on a case that actually was decided 30 years ago, where the Supreme Court threw out the way Arizona funds the capital needs of public schools because it relied so heavily on whether your district could pass bonds and overrides and whether you had the capacity to pass enough bonds and overrides to really take care of your needs. And in Arizona, the property value between somewhere like Scottsdale and somewhere like Glendale is enormous. So even if you have the most supportive electorate in the world, in Glendale, you are limited in a way that Scottsdale and Sedona and Paradise Valley aren't, limited by the Constitution. So the Supreme Court threw out this system and said you can't rely so heavily on property values because it's just not fair to the residents if you don't happen to have a huge property value in your district. And property value can be because you have great big office buildings in your district. It's not just the value of residential property, it's everything in the district. So you might get lucky, have a nuclear generating station in your district, you have a huge property value, so just by raising the tax a penny or two, you can raise a ton of money. Whereas if you're in a district without that, you can raise taxes by dollars and still not have enough to meet all your needs. So the Supreme Court threw that out. They said our Constitution says it's the state's obligation to provide good capital facilities in every school in Arizona. If the local voters want to do something extra, once the state has covered all the basics, that's okay. But state, it's your obligation to cover all the basics. So they threw it out. They told the legislature to fix it. The legislature didn't want to, but eventually they fixed it. And in 1998, they passed something called Students First. It gave all districts different sources of money that would cover all their capital needs. It worked for a while. A lot of schools got built, a lot of schools got repaired, a lot of new air conditioners, new buses, all that stuff was done. And then what happened? Well, the legislature just started taking away that money. And at first it was bit by bit, and then by the time we got to the recession, Arizona took away more school funding than any other state in the United States. Other states also reduced funding, but then they restored it. In Arizona, they didn't restore the funding after the recession. It actually got worse and worse through about 2015, 16, 17. And so ultimately, we were right back to where we were. If you lived in a community that had a ton of bonds, you could do well. If you lived in a community that struggled, you couldn't. And so we sued again. And we sued on behalf of 4 districts, including Glendale, and the Arizona School Boards Association, the Arizona Educational Association, and the Arizona School Administrators. So it actually had both labor, the AEA, and management, ASBA, in the same case, which just was an indication of how bad it had gotten. In response to our case, they did do some good things. They restored one aspect of capital funding, but they're a long, long way from making the system good again. So we sued in 2017. It's been 8 years. The work that has been done in this case, not only by the legal team, but by Cindy and Mike, has been amazing and amazingly difficult. And ultimately, after 7 years of discovery, taking more than 80 depositions, which is taking testimony from people, we finally got to trial this last summer. And it wasn't a 60-day trial, but it did last a whole month. It was very difficult, every day over 110 degrees. But witnesses came from all over the state of Arizona, experts from all over the country, and they just talked about the inadequacy of capital funding in Arizona and how it creates vast disparities between the facilities and creates this have-not system. We have a provision in our Constitution that says school funding, it's the state's responsibility to provide a general and uniform system. Whatever uniform means, it doesn't mean that people in Sedona can raise taxes by a penny and have 60 times as much as you could raise with that same amount in a district without that wealth. So tons of discovery, tons of problems that came out that districts are dealing with, schools that have outlived their useful life, inability to replace buses, all kinds of different things, leaky roofs, air conditioners that don't work. We got to trial. The state stopped defending the case, but the legislature is trying to defend the case. The state ultimately kind of threw up its hands and said, we're not going to defend this anymore. But the legislative leaders had different lawyers and witnesses, none of which ever worked in a school, to come and say everything's fine and stop complaining. And everything is the district's fault. And if you just use the system better, it might take you 10 years to get your problem fixed, but eventually it will be fixed. Our position is a child only gets one chance to be a third grader. Saying we're going to fix this problem in 10 years is not okay. Every child deserves good facilities, and we are super grateful to Glendale, to our other clients, to let us bring this case on behalf of every student in Arizona, every teacher in Arizona, and every district. Where we are right now, so trial was this past summer. This is unlike a jury trial, where last day of trial you find out if you won or lost. This is a trial to a judge. And so after the trial is over, we do what's called post-trial briefing. So we submitted to the judge a closing argument back in October, and what we said, here's what we believe the evidence showed. It was close to 400 pages long, 1,500 paragraphs of what we say the evidence showed. And then just before Christmas, the legislators turned in their closing arguments and what they think the evidence showed. And now we have, in 25 days, on February 17th, the last pleading that will be filed in this case. It is our rebuttal to the legislative submission. Then the case will be in the hands of the judge. Typically, a judge resolves a case like this, any case, in 60 days after all of these pleadings are done. So if that happens, we're looking at April. The evidence in this case is massive, literally millions of pages of documents. So it will not surprise anyone if the judge says, I need an extra month or two. So somewhere between April, May, I don't think it would go past May. We expect to get a ruling from the judge, and he will decide whether he believes the system is unconstitutional for the same reasons they threw it out 30 years ago, or if he accepts the arguments that the legislative leaders were making. Any questions?
Any questions from the board?
I just have a comment. It just incenses me that somebody would actually say it may take you 10 years to fix a problem, but that's okay, you eventually will. I don't know of any building that starts out with a small leak in the roof that magically repairs itself over 10 years. It usually gets considerably worse and creates a lot more problems.
You know, there is so much evidence in this case that confirms exactly what you said. And there's all these state documents that say if we don't fix these things now, if you don't fix a leaking roof now, not only does the problem not get solved, but it causes all this secondary damage. And in some of these old facilities, you know, there's asbestos up there, there's insulation, there's all kinds of problems that can happen. So yeah, you're 100% right. And the 10-year thing, like there are districts where they applied for air conditioning instead of swamp in 2009. It's still not done.
Wow.
There's a district whose water was so toxic that not only could the children not drink it, they couldn't wash their hands in it. They had to bring in boiled water and put them in coolers and put them outside the bathrooms for kids to wash their hands in. It took more than 9 years for that to get fixed.
And meanwhile, during that 9 years, what else had to be sacrificed?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It really is crazy. It's just crazy because it's the most inefficient thing that the state could do. If you don't fix problems right away, they get worse, and then they're more expensive. And just inflation from construction. If you wait 4 years to fix a roof, even if nothing changed, it's going to cost a lot more 4 years from now. And the disparity is great, right? Like the kids, if you've got sufficient bond funds to take care of it, you fix it before it's leaking. You have it on a schedule. And the state said back in 2012, oh, what we need to do is just put everything on a schedule, and then we can fix it before it fails. It'll save a ton of money. Didn't happen.
No.
So.
And Danny, I'd like to say you don't look a day older than 30 years ago.
I literally
You've aged well.
I found a document at the center that I signed in 1994. So 31 years I've been working on this. So.
We appreciate, as Mr. Bergen said, we couldn't ask for better representation.
Thanks.
I know, we were in court for 30 days, but you are still working. You worked prior to that. You're working still with that. It takes a toll on you mentally. It takes a sacrifice from your family. And we do admire the work that you've done and your team. We are confident we're winning this. And we could not do that without your counsel. So again, thank you, Danny. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any other comments from the board?
I would just like to say thank you. What a quagmire. I wouldn't have even known where to start, where to go. Thank you.
Also, thank you from me. Since I've been in school, I'm the youngest one here on the board. I've been told, let me flex that a little bit. I've been told that I've never attended a fully funded public school, and that matches the comments that teachers, principals have made during the whole time I was in school. Like, there was always things to be fixed and never enough money to do it. So, thank you.
I just have one thing to add, and this is probably a question best for Mr. Berrigan. The Auditor General this past week came out with a risk analysis indicating 2 areas of high risk for Glendale Elementary School District, one of them being the student count, which we are quite aware of. The other one is the reduction in our capital budget limit reserve. Would you say that, what would you say is the impact on the lack of the capital funding is on that budget limit reserve?
Mr. President, members of the board, if you look at when we first started notifying the board of some of those concerns, I think that's truly in alignment. In other words, their risk assessment, at least from our perspective, validates everything that we've been saying. When you lose students, obviously funding decreases, and it creates challenges not only for Glendale, but for other school districts. But that's why it was critical that we went to the voters in 2023 and asked for that district additional assistance override so that we could attempt to try to change their analysis, and not just because of their analysis, but perhaps even more importantly, to provide our students and staff and the various stakeholders with what they need to operate, to function. And so I think it's our attempt. I do believe you're going to see a little bit of that analysis change when they do the 25, but that's an ongoing concern. And again, I think the presentations that we provided in the past align with those concerns. But in the end, the state has a responsibility, which, as legal counsel has pointed out, it's failed to meet that constitutional obligation. Had it been funding, or should it be funding that, perhaps there would be less of a need to be going to the voters for those additional revenue sources. Mr. President, members of the board, I don't know if that answered the question, but that's the response.
I just have the feeling that the state is withholding money with the right hand and then slapping us with the left hand because we don't have the money that they're withholding. That's what it feels like to me. But again, thank you for your presentation. Thank you for all the work that you've put in. Of course, thank you, Mr. Berrigan, I know you've put in a lot of hours, and Ms. Segato-Jones, you've both put in a lot of hours in up on the stand and doing depositions and all that stuff, and giving up plenty of time outside of your normal school hours for that. So thank you very much for your leadership on that. Okay, moving into reports and information, items B, school replacement update. Ms. Segato-Jones.
Yes, we have Lynn Adams with us this evening, and Mr. Berrigan, if you'll do formal introductions, please.
Yes, Mr. President, members of the board, Superintendent Segato-Jones, you will know that at least Lynn Adams. You might remember her. I just want to point out what it says on Osborne Maladen's website about Lynn Adams. A strategic advisor and confidant to many Arizona educators. And we believe that wholeheartedly. Lynn, perhaps a side note, I met Lynn when I was about 19 years old. And I was working for the state, and she was at the Attorney General's office. And truly valuable information, both not only from a statutory perspective and constitutional perspective, but also from a public policy perspective. And so I always enjoy conversations with Lynn, and she does fantastic work. So I'll let her provide you an update of where we are.
Thank you. It's hard to be going second. I will be talking about, I will call it the younger cousin of the lawsuit that you just heard about here. And at the end of my presentation, the superintendent is going to tell me that I have also aged very well. So Danny and I were just saying we've known each other for about 35 years. And I still think of him as we're both young. Anyway, so this is going to add to the tale of long lawsuits. Something that we thought wasn't going to take very long. This one is not as old as the older cousin lawsuit that you just heard about, but it has taken some twists and turns. So I'm going to give you some dates and some facts. So this lawsuit is an appeal, actually. So unlike a lawsuit, it's an administrative appeal from a decision made by the School Facilities Oversight Board. That's the board that doles out the funding that Danny was just talking about. And it lets schools know whether they can replace, they have money to replace or to repair. So in December 2022, December 15th, 2022, the School Facilities Oversight Board decided that Glendale would not have funding to replace the buildings at the Mensendick and Jack campus. It denied that funding to us. So we filed an administrative appeal, which is like a lawsuit, but slightly different, and here's how it's different. The appeal is heard by an administrative law judge. So a judge still, but the judge is really acting on behalf of the School Facilities Oversight Board. So at the end of the day, the judge hears testimony and then makes a recommendation back to the School Facilities Oversight Board, the board that's already denied us and has been arguing in front of the judge that they were right. So it's a sort of an odd process, but that's sort of the road that we're going down here is again, this administrative appeal. So after in March, we filed our appeal notice. For the next several months, we tried to work to settle the matter. We were trying to make some overtures to the School Facilities Oversight Board. Let's see if we can do this. They shut us down. They did launch some discussions about what they're calling end of useful life buildings that can't be repaired, that need to be replaced. So they started on their own some discussions about these issues, but we were never able to reach an agreement. So January 2024 rolls around. So the decision was made in December 2022. We had some hearing dates. Again, we tried to work things through. January rolls around, and we have a hearing coming up. It's later in January. And we issue a subpoena for Scott Thompson, who is who works for the Mesa Public Schools. He's also on the School Facilities Oversight Board. We want him to testify. He faces these issues all the time, and so we want his insight. He's been on the board for 6 years, and we want his testimony. The hearing doesn't go forward. It had to be continued because of an illness of one of the lawyers. It's rescheduled to June. In March, fast forward a little bit, and this is relevant, the subpoena is relevant, the School Facilities Oversight Board moves to vacate our subpoena to Scott Thompson. They claim that since he's a decision maker, that we should not be able to get his testimony. The judge rules in our favor. We think we're going forward. The School Facilities Oversight Board moves for reconsideration. On the reconsideration, the judge modifies the subpoena a little bit and says, you can't ask him about his thought process for making a decision, but you can ask him about his work on behalf of Mesa. He used to work for this Arizona Department of Education. You can ask him all those. He manages facilities for Mesa, for the biggest public school district in Arizona. All these things are relevant. And by the way, Mesa now can't pass bonds. So they're going to have to face some tough issues. So you can ask him about all of that. We continue to get ready for hearing. We're going to go for it. We have a hearing in June. At this point, our hearing's set in June. right before the hearing. We were actually preparing your superintendent and Mr. Berrigan for their testimony. We get notified that the School Facilities Oversight Board is going to appeal the decision again from the judge. So they file what's called a special action appeal, which goes to the Superior Court. We agree to stay our hearing. We want to get this issue figured out. We agree to stay the hearing. The School Facilities Oversight Board drags their feet. Again, they've let us know in June they're going to file this. July comes around, nothing's been filed. All of June, nothing's been filed. July comes around. So in early August, we asked the court to reset the hearing dates. We're like, they said they were going to file this, but they haven't. They finally file at the end of August. The School Facilities Oversight Board files something with the Superior Court. We brief it fully, and we win. So we were right. And November 8th, the court rules in our favor and says the subpoena can move forward with the limitations that the court had already made. It's good. We also ask for our attorney's fees, and we get awarded our attorney's fees. So we get awarded over $30,000 in our fees for their special action. We're ready to move forward. Right now, we have April hearing dates that we've been working on. So we are ready to move forward. We're going to push forward, but we ask the court, the judge in the lower court, the administrative appeal, to move forward with these dates, and the state argues that they should wait until we're done with all the appeals. So we could either agree to move forward with the hearing without any testimony from Scott Thompson, or we could agree to move forward with the hearing, take all the testimony, wait, and then see how the decision turns out, and then maybe months later take some testimony from Scott Thompson. We decided we wanted to do neither of those. We wanted to have all of the hearing testimony presented at the same time so that the judge could then quickly make a decision. So we decided to continue to stay the matter because those were not good options for us, so we stayed the matter. Last week, the School Facilities Oversight Board informed us that they're going to seek another appeal from the Superior Court. They're going to move to the Court of Appeals and ask for an appeal of this issue. We don't know how quickly that's going to move. We continue to feel very strongly about our position and our decision to have Scott Thompson testify. They're obviously throwing up a lot of roadblocks to that. So we're going to continue to do that. And again, if we prevail in this next appeal, we'll ask them for some more attorney's fees with interest accruing at 8% every month. So we'll continue to try to seek that on your behalf. I've indicated why we want Scott Thompson to testify. The state again says he's a decision maker. We don't want him to testify. We believe that the guardrails have been appropriate. So we don't have new dates for our hearing yet. Again, we actually do right now have April dates. They haven't been vacated, but it's pretty clear it's not going to move forward in April. After the appeal to the Court of Appeals, the next avenue for the School Facilities Oversight Board to continue to delay this, because let's be honest, that appears to be what they're doing, is a petition for review to the Arizona Supreme Court. Those are not granted very often, but it's hard to say whether it would be in this case or not, because we don't have an order to look at to see what would be appealed. So again, it's unclear much longer this is going to take, but it is clear that the School Facilities Oversight Board is delaying and doing what it can to delay our appeal here. I just want to tell you a couple other things that we've tried. We really have tried, and by me, I really mean Mr. Berrigan and your superintendent have worked really hard with us to try to resolve this more quickly without the need for an appeal. One of the issues that we feel that we're facing is that we don't agree with the legal advice that the School Facilities Oversight Board is getting about about the statutes. This is not a secret. Obviously, I'm telling you in public here. We don't agree with the way they've interpreted the statutes. So we attempted to write a memo analyzing the statutes. We submitted it to the Attorney General's office for review. We thought if we could get beyond this lawyer that's providing advice to the School Facilities Oversight Board and have other lawyers in the Attorney General's office look at it, that might move us forward. Because we had a pending appeal, the Attorney General's office declined to do that. But we provided our analysis, and we provided it to the School Facilities Oversight Board members too, so that they could see that the statutes did provide a way forward for what we were asking for. We also arranged for the School Facility Oversight Board's executive director to tour the Jack and Men's campus without legal counsel so she could take a look at the buildings. And see for herself what needed to be replaced, what needed to be changed, why we were asking for funding to build the new buildings. She did the tour. We were supposed to have a settlement conference after, and they canceled the settlement conference after, so we were never able to move forward with that. But we were able to at least do the tour. But our idea was, let's have them tour, let's have them see it for themselves, and then we can sit down and talk about some practical ways forward here. We have and will continue to provide comments to the School Facilities Oversight Board whenever they're doing new policies. We provide our input. You know, they know both me and Mike now. And we'll continue to do that and provide comments during public comment to try to, again, our view is we really need to talk to the board members themselves and to express as clearly as we can why our position is an appropriate position. If we have to go forward with the appeal, we obviously will, but in the interest of not only saving money for the district on legal fees, but really to try to move it forward to the issue we just talked about time is, delay is not good. Delay is no one's friends, especially students and teachers and staff. So we've really been trying to think creatively about how we can deal with this issue without having to move forward with the appeal. Because after this administrative appeal, it can go back to court. We can go through more appeals. So we're doing our best to resolve it, but again, we've really been faced with delay after delay after delay at every turn. We'll continue to fight the good fight. So, do you have any questions for me?
Any questions or comments from the board?
I guess at this point, I'd like to know, are you allowed to take them to court for stalling it like this over and over and over again?
Unfortunately not, but the thing we can do, we figured out a way to get attorney's fees, like I said. The attorney's fees have to come out of the agency's budget, and so the more we can make them have pain in some way for their delay. I know that sounds horrible, but that's, usually you don't get attorney's fees. And we found a statute that allowed us to get attorney's fees. I'll tell you, they even argued against the fact that we won. They claimed that we did not win at the Superior Court. The judge did not even just batted that down and said, of course they won. You did not get anything you asked for, School Facilities Oversight Board. The district got everything they asked for, which was keep things the same. They won. So, I was hoping that the threat of additional attorney's fees, which will be more expensive for them on an expanded appeal, would convince them not to further appeal. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. But we're trying to think of ways to, how can we get them not to delay? Again, we've tried to push them. We've tried to push the administrative law judge to move forward with the hearing. But in terms of, our analysis, we want the hearing testimony to come in all at the same time. I think it will be more impactful for the judge to hear everyone at the same time, hear our witnesses, which are your superintendent and Mr. Berrigan, to hear them talk about the issues in the school and the needs, than to have, maybe a 6-month gap in hearing that and then hearing one witness at the end, your memory just isn't the same, and I think it loses that emotional impact.
Thank you. Anybody else? Ms. Agata-Jones?
Yes, President Martinez, members of the board. Thank you, Lynn, very, very much for that. And you don't look a day over 30. So,
Oh my gosh, I can't believe that came out of nowhere.
because we continue to face with SFOB the delay after delay after delay, we still in Glendale Elementary School District have buildings that do not meet minimum adequate standards and guidelines. We still have to do repairs. We have repairs that SFB will not fund because they've declared our buildings have outlived their useful life. I think that we need to be prepared with and ask for some specific strategies on how we move forward with SFOB. And I would not want that, I'd like to do that in an executive session this evening, please.
Thank you. All right, moving on in our agenda, we don't have any action items tonight, so we will move into future meetings that are coming up. Ms. Agata-Jones.
Okay, the next, we have our February 8th board retreat, and that will be on Saturday. Did we determine a time on that? 9 to 12?
I think it was 9 because nobody wanted to get up.
Okay, 9 to 12, and the board has submitted some topics. Mr. Martinez, we've talked about doing financial solvency and presentation just on basic 101 finance as we see what's happening in surrounding areas. That would be a good discussion for us. And also any other items you'd like to see.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that. One of the things, with all the news that's been happening lately, a question I ask myself is there anything that the board could have done, or is there anything that the board could have seen, or is there a point of view that would help a board avert financial crisis at a school district? So we, as part of the board retreat, we're going to have a little financial literacy 101 for school finance. So that should be fun. I know we have a couple other topics on there, but make sure you take your 5-hour energy before you show up, because school finance can be a very dull topic to sit through, even though Mike absolutely loves it and probably has pajamas with dollar signs on it. Almost guaranteed. So I'm looking forward to that and getting together and kind of going through everything with you guys.
And with that, also we have, then the next meeting would be the 13th, and that's when we will do the administrative and psychologist contract renewals and then salary placement tables as well.
I do have an agenda item request. I would like to see us update policy regarding law enforcement and potential law enforcement agents coming into the schools and asking about status. I just want to make sure that we remain a district that is inclusive and that our students, staff, and our families know that we're keeping them safe in full accordance with the law, of course. And yeah.
I think that's a very timely topic. I know we have a policy regarding law enforcement. With some of the recent changes, I don't know whether it goes far enough, but everything seems to change day by day, depending on which news feed you read and who you believe and what's going to happen. I'll just throw it out there. Trust no news feed. Pics or it doesn't happen. Literally, everybody has a cell phone. There are millions of cameras out there. That's why no one's found Bigfoot yet, and Bigfoot doesn't exist, because we would have gotten a picture of him already. So I think it's a good idea to talk through the process, and I think we'll probably end up having to call legal counsel in to give us some guidance. And then I would also like to see if policy services at ASBA have anything in the works right now regarding updated policy guidance for school districts.
We've been working with legal all day today and continue to, as well as the other organizations and legal has several legal firms have been sending us information. It is a very fluid topic right now. You saw some of those orders change today. So we will stay on top of that, and then we can put that as a discussion item. What we would probably do ahead of time is send information to you in a board update, and so that you can have that information. Then we can have that healthy discussion at the next board meeting, if that's all right, February 13th.
Absolutely. Thank you. All right. If there's nothing else, we're going to move on to the summary of current events. I know it's only been 2 weeks since our last meeting, but that's like 14 weeks in dog weeks because this has been the longest year ever. So Ms. Sagata Jones, if you can give us a little update.
Yes, I want to thank the artwork in the back from Challenger and Sunset Vista. It's always great to see student work. We've had our 2 spelling bees have taken place. We had our Spanish, our first ever that I'm aware of, Spanish spelling bee took place today. And so we were excited about that, and congratulations to our winners. February 7th we will host the regional spelling bee here at district office, so we are excited about that. Last week sometime was Tech Night. Tech Night was great. It was over 360 some families attended. It was incredible. There were so many things. Thank you for teachers and staff and families for coming out for that. I enjoyed that. Last night was Gifted Night. We had a lot of our families out. Thank you to teachers and staff. A lot of things. I snapped pictures of things I'm going to do with my grandchildren to keep them busy. It was really well attended and some just great things going on. And we thank the community. Basketball season is underway right now, and that's always an exciting time for us. We look forward to championships and get to debut our new basketball with our logo, so we're excited about that. 100th Day celebration, we have a video. We're going to show in a little bit about that. That was yesterday. Job fair is Saturday here at district office. We're excited about that. So HR is ready to go, and we hope we get a lot of candidates with that. And we've been doing some geofencing in some areas where we think people might need jobs. So we've been doing that as well. Executive orders, yes, as I said earlier, executive orders have come out. We've sent out statements. You were receiving statements today. We work with legal counsel. We try to send out the most current information as it is in the moment and what best meets the needs of our community. And so we will continue to do that as well. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Adriana, and Gladys has the 100th Day video from yesterday. Those were the 100 days, and Marisol, is she here? Did she leave? I told her she should stay for the video. No, she had to leave. Yeah, that was the best makeup ever she had. I asked if she could, I said, how'd you do that? She said, make it. And I said, can you make them go away? And so because I wanted mine to go away. But it was great. It was great to see. I was out, and thank you to Discovery for letting me. I was some places, interrupted classrooms at Discovery. I think Horizon, I was a disruption there as well. But it was nice to see kids, and they were engaged in the 100-day activities, and it just makes kids and families feel good. So we always look forward to the 100th day. Yes, we do know it's a big day, and Mr. Berrigan had his dollar socks on, I'm sure, yesterday. But, you know, we always want to take, you know, the opportunity to celebrate the 100th day. It just makes kids feel old and happy. And so, but 100 days smarter, and as I said to others, I'm 100 days grayer, I'm sure. But, you know, it's all for our students and our community that we love so dearly. So with that, that concludes my report.
All right, thank you. Busy couple weeks. We'll start with the governing board report. Down at the end, Ms. Bartels.
Usually the person that starts doesn't get to say ditto to anything ahead of time, but but I was able to attend the tech night, which was incredibly attended. Those kids and their parents were all just having a great time with the technology that we have available in our district. Was able to attend the gifted night last night and some just great projects that our kids and their families can work with. I think this was the first time ever that indirectly I was on a campus for the 100th day celebration. So as a Kiwanian reading to a classroom, so it gave me an excuse to order a 100th day of school t-shirt. So I got to show that off yesterday and dress appropriately when I read to the classes. It's just always so exciting to see, what our staffs are doing with our kids and the interaction between everybody. So thank you all for everything that you guys do every day. Just a reminder, we have Market on the Move this Saturday over at the System of Care Center, so I'll be there bright and early.
All right, thank you, Ms. Bartels. Ms. Pimentel.
I love the 100th day, and I don't know that it was such a big celebration when my kids were in school, but I remember it was important. And sometimes when I talk to parents, they don't realize the importance and what it's all about. So, and I love seeing that, and I want a Valentine's Day card with Mr. Berrigan's picture on it. I love that picture. So,
we've seen that as him as Cupid, not so much.
Okay, maybe St. Patrick's Day. Could do that one too. Maybe he can find us the pot of gold. He's good at that. Thank you for the updates on the lawsuit and the building. That has been something that it predates me actually being on the board. And I remember conversations at that time where, are you sure you want to do this? And I said, absolutely. Every single child deserves to be in a safe place, in a safe building, with things that are not taped together, things that are not posters over holes, and that is not, we're not pointing fingers at each other here. We know where the fault lies, and it's not anybody in this room, and it's not anybody who was employed here. It is the legislature. So I'm going to continue to do my part to urge them to do their jobs and give our students and all the students of Arizona what they deserve. And lastly, it's an interesting climate right now. And I'm talking to parents and hearing from teachers who are relaying to me the fears of their families, of their students. And I would like to reiterate that as a person, as a parent, as a community member, I am here for every single person. I am truly all in for all kids, and that's our motto, and we are not going to step away from that. So please know that as a board member, and I can only speak for myself, but I feel good about the rest of everybody on this dais, we are happy to have your children here and your families, and we're going to do everything we can to make sure that our community is educated.
All right, thank you. Mr. Jaramillo.
Ditto. don't know how to follow up with that, but yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with Board Member Pimentel. When I volunteered to do this job, it was with the community in mind. I had people reach out to me asking me to do this, and took a month or two of convincing me, but ultimately I said yes because I care about the kids in my community. I care about my neighbors. I care about educators, and I want to make sure that we are inclusive. We make sure our families feel safe, our staff, because the second we stop letting them know that, hey, like, we're not going to keep you safe, that's when we're failing as a district. So, like Monica, I believe in, I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that we keep it that way, that we keep excelling and keep our kiddos happy and making sure that we also prevent the bullying that is probably going to follow pretty soon with the rhetoric happening at the national level. Thank you.
All right, thank you. No. Hello? All right. Just want to say thank you to both our guests this evening for your legal advice. You both have that Benjamin Button's disease, so you look like you're aging backwards. So I'm sure by the time these lawsuits are done, you will be babies. Yes. Hector, maybe we can borrow some car seats and stuff next time you're around, in case we need to ferry him to court and such like that. So thank you for all the hard work. Congratulations on everyone on getting through the 100th day. It seems like it just kind of snuck up on us. I would like to personally apologize to all the nanas and tatas that were stuck on the couch because their kids stole their cane and their walker to take to school. It was only for a day, and you guys weren't going anywhere anyway. So just chill. You're good. Take your rest. But as the last board meeting in Board Member Appreciation Month, I would just like to again reiterate my thanks for the board that I happen to sit up here with. Marianne, I hope you're feeling better soon. Brenda, Monica, Hector, thank you all. We couldn't have done any of this without you. Your support for the school district is absolutely unwavering. And the diversity we have amongst the board, because we all come from different backgrounds and we all know different things, and we're able to bring that to the table. We're able to bring that up here to the dais. Thank you. We are a better board because of it, and I appreciate and I look forward to finishing out the rest of the year serving with you guys.
Who finished the puzzles? Brenda, the rest of you didn't do your puzzles yet?
Yeah.
No cookies for you.
I did it on the way home at that stoplight on Grand, waiting for the train. All right. With that, we will, at this time, the governing board will consider voting to recess the regular meeting in order to convene to executive session for the following purposes. In accordance with Arizona Revised Statute 38-43103A3 and Arizona Revised Statute 38-43103A4 for discussion and consultation with the attorneys of the public body to obtain legal advice and consider its position and instruct its attorneys regarding the public body's position related to pending litigation in CV 2017-6975. Also, in accordance with Arizona Revised Statute 38-43103A3 and Arizona Revised Statute 38-43103A4, for discussion consultation with the attorneys of the public body to obtain legal advice and consider its position and instruct its attorneys regarding the public body's position relating to pending litigation 23F-001-ADM and CV 2024-23145. Also, in accordance with Arizona Revised Statutes 38-43103A5 for the purpose of consultation or instruction to designate representatives as to negotiation regarding salaries or compensation in the form of benefits for district employees. Is there a motion to recess to executive session?
I move that we go into executive session for the 3 items listed.
No, only for 2. The first one we're not.
Oh, wait, what? We have 3.
B and C. We will not go into executive session for capital lawsuit. We'll go into executive session for SFOB and the meet and confer.
Right, so the very first one, you can just amend the motion
Yeah,
to not
amend the
include
motion.
that one.
Okay, I would like to amend my motion not to include item 9A.
Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Bartels, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Pimentel, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Jaramillo, how do you vote?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. We're now in executive session.
Administration, there is no action item coming out of executive session. You are free to go. Thank you for your work.
Why do I feel so old getting out of this chair? Yeah, there's no action items when we come back. Well, I think we know we have to reconvene the regular meeting and then adjourn. You can do it back there if nobody's out here. Okay. Let's just come out here and do it. Let's. I know what you're saying, but let's just be transparent and we'll come out here and
chair is even cold. Is your chair?
Is there a, oh, Jesus Christ. Is there a motion to return to regular session?
I'll move to return to regular session.
Second?
Ms. Bartels, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Pimentel, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Jaramillo, how do you vote?
Aye.
Okay, and the chair votes aye. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.